everybody. Welcome to our town hall series hosted by Certified PA Consulting. I'm Kasey D'Amato. Many of you know me. I'm president of Certified PA Consulting, and I have Danielle Spatholt here. She's our senior consultant. Many of you have met her along the way now. She does a lot of our work one-on-one with clients related to salary and contract negotiations, a lot of career coaching. She's even helping people with side hustles and navigate if starting a side hustle is the right decision for them. If you're not familiar with what we do at Certified PA Consulting, we've been around for a long time. We serve PAs and NPs and the physician community as well with professional issues. So we help people understand the complexities when it comes time to negotiate salary or understand terms in a contract and how that's relevant to their own personal life goals. We help people with negotiation strategy to understand if this employment opportunity is the right opportunity for their long-term goals and how to best negotiate a win-win structure so that it benefits both the PA, NP, and the facility where they're working. We also help people navigate career transitions, whether that is a clinical transition to another specialty, or maybe it's something non-clinical, starting a business, starting a side hustle. We even help PAs start medical practices in the states where that is applicable. So we've helped a lot of PAs start practices. We help PAs wrap their mindset around money mindset. We have some programs and partners that help with that as well. So all these professional issues that were not taught in school along the way, whether we're PA, NP, or MD, we're not taught these things. And these are things that myself and members of my team have a lot of experience in. And we share videos to help you. And today we are talking about contracts, salary negotiations, how to negotiate with a difficult boss. We're going to go through a few quick tips just to help you, some quick wins, some quick takeaways. Sometimes you might not be thinking about, because oftentimes when we are the ones negotiating and we're in the situation, especially dealing with difficult personality, it can feel intimidating and it can feel scary, and we can get a lot of anxiety around the situation, feel intimidated, and it doesn't need to be that way. So hopefully you will learn some things in today's town hall video that will help you. We have tons of more videos on our YouTube channel at certifiedpaconsulting.com. There's a link to it on our website. Our website is certifiedpaconsulting.com. Our YouTube channel is also a Certified PA Consulting. So check out our other videos. We have lots of free resources and free PDF downloadable guides, and we offer programs to work with us one-on-one or group programs or on-demand programs. So we're going to dive in. I'm going to let Danielle kick it off with some of the things that we work through, some of the key points that we work through when we're helping our clients navigate how to negotiate with a challenging personality, a difficult boss, whether it's a manager or supervising physician or practice owner, might be a business person if you're dealing with private equity or something like that, or some complex partnership. So I'll let Danielle kick it off with some of the key points, and we'll talk you through some of the things and tools that we use and strategies that we use to help our clients navigate these complicated waters.
Yeah, thanks, Kasey. So the very first tip that I would have for someone who is negotiating with a difficult boss is to define their values. So another way you could think of this is like getting in their head. And this can be really hard if this is someone who you're not necessarily friends with, or maybe you've had a negative interaction with this person or not a great relationship. It can be hard to find these clues and tips and things that really they do give you when you're in conversation with someone, or even in passing, or you overhear a conversation, you're in the hallway, you're in clinic, you may get these tips and clues as to what they value. And if you start to listen more and you start to kind of go and do some detective work on what their values are, you will find them. People will tell you what they want, what they value. And if you start paying attention to that, you can really unlock the key, the lock to a really successful negotiation. But it does take that time and attention and really honing in on that. So ask yourself, what does this person need? So who is the decision maker? Who is the person making the negotiation? What do they need? What do they value? Do they want more time? Do they want more money coming into the clinic? Do they need somebody to help train new people? Do they want your help with marketing? Do they want your help with something that you have skills in that you could help them with? If you start paying attention to that, you will start to get more successful and better at your negotiation skills. which again is very hard if you have a bad relationship with this person. But remember that if you start listening more, you may even start to improve your relationship with that person. If you start to understand them and get in their head more and understand why your relationship might be difficult with that person. So I would say an example from, our sessions that we have with clients, sometimes people don't, they get these clues, but they don't know that they're clues. So when I'm in a session with a client, we have about 15 to 20 minutes of going over your entire situation from everything, all of your interactions with this person, kind of what conversations you've had around negotiation. And I actually take notes and define and kind of pull these out for you as to the clues of what they value. And then I help you get a negotiation strategy and develop and build a negotiation strategy that's unique to you for your negotiation. And it really revolves around what this person values. Anything else, Kasey, you have on that one?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The negotiation, no matter who you're negotiating with, even as the most challenging personality type, if you understand the way they think and what's important to them, the outcome will be so much more successful, and the whole conversation will be a lot less stressful. So I couldn't agree more. This is a strategy that we've used since, gosh, for the last 15 years, that we have been helping people navigate these type of conversations, and understanding values and understanding what the other person really cares about, and thinking about them first and what they care about, their values, their wants, their needs, and then presenting something in the way that will help them, that also helps you, is definitely the way to get the most powerful, successful outcome, without a doubt. And when dealing with the complicated personalities, even more so, because some of those people are really short, they don't give a lot of time, they're rushed, they're hurried, they're abrupt. And so if you're presenting something that piques their interest, that's important to them, they're gonna pay a little more attention, and they're going to be more amicable to the next part of the conversation, which is most likely going to be your ask for what you want. So I agree 100%. That is probably the number one point that we address with every client.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah.
Two, then second bullet point, I would say is to keep positive. So it is hard when you've had some negative or maybe resentful feelings towards this person. And it's very common. I talk to a lot of Ps and MPs who, we're working these very stressful environments. We're on 100% of the time, taking great care of our patients. And it's a very high stress situation. And it's easy to kind of have some negative interactions sometimes with the decision maker, but especially when it involves your money. But if you want the best possible negotiation, you want to approach it from a positive way. So this is something I often work with clients on, is how can we really change your mindset, your feelings, your thinking around this negotiation so that you can go into it with a more positive mindset. That is really key to the negotiation. So it's something I always remind clients, and I actually build your negotiation strategy in the verbiage around a positive attitude.
Definitely. That is so important. You know what? We forget, like, it's just basic human nature, but people are going to be more likely to be agreeable if you come in friendly, you're smiling, you're calm, you're relaxed. They're going to be much more likely. Just think about our own conversations when we go in to do some, we're negotiating to buy a car or something like that. When the salesperson is friendly and calm, and they're smiling, we're going to be so much more likely to agree to the price that they're saying sooner than later, than if they're, frustrated, or they're angry, or they're acting like we're making a ridiculous offer or something like that. Then, we're not going to want to work with that person. And so keeping positive and coming in with a friendly demeanor, an amicable tone, is something that I think a lot of people underestimate, mostly because emotions start running so high, and to some extent we can't help it. We're feeling so anxious and so nervous and so uncomfortable about the conversation, and then it shows. But it's important to just take a breath going in there. Remember, you're talking to another human being. Human beings tend to want to work with other human beings that are fun to be around, that are calm, that are happy, that are generally upbeat, and typically are not going to want to work around people that are, angry or upset or over emotional, or, is sad, or being demanding, or any of those things. So it's really important to be positive. It doesn't mean that you need to be any milder in your negotiation strategy. You can be just as powerful of a negotiator with a smile on your face and a calm attitude as you can be, coming in angry and aggressive in like you're coming into combat. We see this all the time with clients. We always say this is not a fight. A negotiation is not a fight. It's not a war. This is just a conversation between two people. This should be a happy time. This should be a time that is a win-win. We're going to talk about how we can all work and grow together. And so positive attitude, I agree totally. As a bullet point number 2, that we talk about most often with our clients after understanding the other person's values.
And then number 3, the third bullet point I would say is that negotiation is a business transaction, which we touched on the last point. But I hear from a lot of clients, like, they don't teach us this in PA or NP school. They don't teach us how to negotiate, how to be business people. There's a lot of anxiety and, just uncomfortable feelings, like Kasey mentioned with these. But if you think about it more like the car selling example, it's a business transaction. Or if you were going to the bank and removing money or, getting a loan or things like that, those are all business transactions. They may have some emotion attached to them, but we think of that more as being money exchange. And really that is what's happening here. We're exchanging money for services. So really try to remove your emotion from the negotiation, see it from both sides as just a money transaction, especially if you're dealing with someone who is more business focused, like a CFO or, someone who is really business minded. This is a business transaction to them too. So if you're feeling anxious, remember from their point of view, this is a business transaction. It's exchanging of money. Always remember, I think that it really helps me frame a negotiation in a less emotional light when I remember the 3 options. And those are, in any decision that you have in life, you can negotiate around it. If that doesn't work, you either exit or you accept the situation and stay. Those are always the 3 options. And that will take a lot of anxiety out of your negotiation when you do that.
100%. Most people don't realize that. And when they're thinking they're coming into this battle zone, they're not thinking there's really these 3 doors. We're either going to have a successful negotiation, which means both parties are benefiting, or we're going to decide we're just going to accept what it is and live with it and not complain about it every day and not keep wondering what if it could be better, what if, we're just going to accept it and it is what it is and move on. Or we're going to plan an exit and leave and find another opportunity or something that's a better fit for us and our long-term goals. That's it. Those are the only outcomes that can happen at the end of this conversation. One of those 3 things will be what will happen. And, the only other alternative is to continue to just live in misery. And that's not what anybody wants to do. So the reality is one of those 3 things, either negotiate something that's going to be beneficial for both parties, accept what it is, move on, let go of the negative emotions, or plan an exit and find something else out there. There's lots of opportunities out there. It's a big wide world. So that's what'll happen at the end of the day. At the end of that conversation, one of those 3 things will happen. So it's a business transaction. I totally agree with you. This is one of those outcomes will happen. It's objective. We know that is what's going to happen at the end. And, I just want to touch on one other point, kind of our bullet point number 4, which is understand your numbers. So building on that last point that Danielle just mentioned, the last piece here of the puzzle is if you're talking to somebody that is very business focused, so either the practice owner or maybe you're talking to private equity or you're talking to a manager that manages hundreds of people, so it's a very corporate type of conversation, then you want to really think about your numbers and how the business works, because if you're negotiating something that doesn't make sense from a business standpoint, then the reality is the outcome just isn't going to be possible. Even if they want to, they love you, they don't want to lose you. The numbers just can't afford to potentially pay you anymore, or they can't afford for you to be part-time because there isn't anybody else to fill in the other days, and they need that patient volume provider to pay their bills. They need a 5 income of provider, a 5-day income from one provider to cover their overhead. So make sure you understand the numbers and how the business works and how your role in what you're doing affects the overall business, because the other party can have the most amazing intentions for you, and they might want to agree to what's going on, but the reality is it just might not be possible from a business standpoint. And some of these scenarios are if you have a heavy Medicaid population, for example, or you're someplace with low patient volume, maybe it's a new practice, a new satellite or something like that. At these kind of scenarios, there isn't a lot of money, there isn't a lot of revenue being generated by your activities. It's not that you're not amazing as a PA or NP and that your skill set isn't amazing and you're not, happy and friendly to be around and you didn't present something that is a win-win for everybody. But at the end of the day, if there isn't enough money coming into the practice to support what you're asking for, it's just not going to be realistic. So it's really important to understand numbers and understand how business works as part of your negotiation before you go in, especially dealing with someone that's complicated or difficult. Because even more so, you might have a lot of anxiety around this conversation, and it's important for you to realize before you even go into it, would this even be realistic from a business standpoint? Because if it isn't, even if you go in with a smile on your face and you're presenting something that you think could help, you're going to take on management or things like this. You're going to do other tasks within the practice. But if your patient activity, the revenue that you're generating, doesn't support an increase in salary, it's just not going to be possible from a business standpoint. So make sure you do understand how business works. So you're understanding how cash flow operates inside the ecosystem of a medical practice. That's really, really important. If you know your collections, that's fantastic. That's really helpful. If you don't know your collections, you can do some basic napkin math and you can kind of figure out loosely to understand if this is even going to be possible. So that's the fourth point I just wanted to touch on here to make sure you just had some of the high level concepts that we sit down and we work with our clients one-on-one. We dive deep into their long-term goals, their short-term goals. We're talking about everything from their financial goals to their family and their time management and what they really want for their lifestyle to help people figure out if they're in the right role for them and help them figure out the right strategy and help them identify if they are negotiating with someone that they feel like is a little more complicated. We can help them get clues on how to identify the values of the other person. So we can help you with that if you're not sure how to do that on your own. Those are the kind of things that we can help you with. We have an on-demand course called Master the Boss Mindset that can help you with that, as well as one-on-one coaching where we sit down. Mostly you'd be meeting with Danielle primarily, and sit down and break down exactly what you want for your goals. We talk about your supervising physician or the person you're negotiating with and clues that give you clues about what their values and goals might be to try to align them. And we also help you recognize the number from the number standpoint. Is this going to be realistic before you go in there and help you present that win-win? So if you feel like all of this sounds great, but you still feel a little intimidated about your next steps and how you start the conversation out on the right foot and how do you go in there without having a lot of anxiety and putting those emotions aside, we can help you with a very specific strategy with specific steps, specific proposals and things you can offer, backup plans if you hit a roadblock with some of us and hit some resistance with some of your proposals. We can present kind of like backups if one suggestion isn't really something that amenable, then there's other things we can help you with. So don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can always reach us at team@certifiedpaconsulting.com, as well as going to our website, certifiedpaconsulting.com, and going to the contact page. We will have some links in the notes here on YouTube as well. And we try and get a couple videos out a month. So hopefully we'll help you. Feel free to send us suggestions, other questions you may have, and we will see you on our next town hall video. Hey, bye everybody.